Should make people guess what you're making, what you're doing.
What is going on over there?
What?
Are you filming me? What do you think we're doing here?
I'm teaching you how to sew.
I don't know how to sew. I do.
I'm supposed to be making dinner, not teaching you how to sew.
No, we're doing good. This is good. This is important. You tell people what we're doing.
Brian is sewing a cover for his paramotor.
Like a dust cover.
Yes, because it's out in our garage where it is dusty.
Yeah, it's gonna get gross if we don't do something.
Yep.
And so I figured I would do this and this would help hold down the cost a little bit.
Actually, he figured I would do it, but
But then she didn't.
he was mistaken.
She got all the stuff out and then I did some of it. So I still count that a victory.
So, in case anyone is curious what we're doing, this is 4 yards of
Thank you, Dave, for
cotton.
telling us that.
Yes, cotton duck fabric. Brian wanted it to be black.
Which is made out of 100% ducks.
It is not. It is 60 inches wide, so we just folded it in half.
61.
Well, 60 to 63, depending on the manufacturer of the
Thanks
fabric.
for sharing that, like everybody knows it. Home ec teacher. She's
Standard,
literally
I
by trade.
was.
She had formal training on how to not teach other people.
I can teach 7th graders to make pillowcases like there's no tomorrow.
This is the world's largest pillowcase.
See, that's why I said I can teach you how to do this.
But now this is so huge and heavy that it's like, it's kind of awkward to keep it straight. Luckily, the gals at Joann's Fabric did a nice job of cutting.
They did, actually.
They did. They did a really nice job. So
Just
now,
keep pulling your excess
I know,
through.
I'm just trying to keep it together.
Okay.
Keep it together for the camera. The only reason you started filming is so I would stop throwing things. Okay, I'm getting a little bit out of alignment here, so I'm going to straighten this out.
Okay.
You want to give the people an extreme close-up of what we're doing over here?
There's things out that shall not be named, right?
What? Like A10s? What types of things are you talking about?
Fuzz.
That's fuzzy. Get off up there. Did you show them the A10?
No,
Oh, okay.
I went over it.
You mean the yet to be released A10?
Yeah.
Ooh, this is where they started drinking again. So I'm not sure what happened down there at
Well,
Joann's.
If it's a
If there
little
was
bit.
like an armed robbery during this part of their cut. Granted, I couldn't do any better, so I'm not going to complain too much. Yeah, you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
They must have just screwed up a little bit
that's
there.
okay.
Yeah, because I've got it pretty much
Yeah,
tight
as long
here.
as your salvage ends up matched, it'll be pretty close.
Because it's going to be inside out here
Yeah.
on this part anyway. And then we still have to take it out and basically get our rounded edge cut. Or not cut, but marked. That was my solution to not have to do math.
Yes,
Which was a good solution, I think.
that's fine.
Okay, so then when we get to the end, I need to go back and forth, right? With this.
Yes.
Which button is it?
That button. We'll go backwards. You have to
U-turn
hold
button?
it. Yep.
Okay.
But get almost to the edge and
Yeah,
then
right.
go.
So I'm gonna go real slow. Ooh, I got a little bit of overlap too, so I gotta double back a little bit early. I'll go back and forth. We used a light gray fabric for the stitching
Thread.
thread. Ooh, just barely got it. Okay, where do I stop? Here?
Okay, so go to the end, straight, and then when you get close to the end, push that button and keep your foot down until
Which
it stops.
one?
The circle button.
Circle button?
That one.
The bullseye button?
Yep.
Press it now?
Press it, and then keep your foot on the thing until it stops.
So it's tying a knot.
Yep.
Okay, then what?
Then press your up arrow so that your needle goes up. And then you need to put your presser foot up, and then you can pull it out.
Yeah.
There is a thread cutter on the back, but I could also get you scissors.
I'll just use scissors because I'm low tech.
Yes.
So that was less painful than I figured it could have been.
Yeah, that's fine.
I figured it would have been a lot less painful if you would have done it.
Well, I mean,
But that obviously didn't happen.
I'm making you dinner.
Chicken noodles. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now when we're ready to do, what are we just gonna stitch the other side now?
I think we should go out and see where you want the rounded corners to be, because I think you're going to end up.
No way of holding it on there because it's just like a big open pocket right now.
Oh, well, we could pin it.
That seems like a lot of work.
It does.
Why don't we just stitch it? Maybe we don't even care to cut the corners. That's what you were saying before.
That's
right?
what I said.
Okay.
So start
at the
where
stitch
you.
end.
Yep.
I hope I don't get it in a weird angle by the time I get to the other side.
No, because you have salvage. Like if you keep your, it'll be okay. I think.
It'll be okay?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So you can see what this looks like now. So it's like canvas. Show them super up close.
Yeah, it's just a canvas, cotton.
How many pounds per square
I
inch?
think this one was 8.5 ounces.
It's 8.5 pounds per square inch. I'm holding up like 10 pounds.
That's what our kid would say.
It's not quite that bad.
I did pick one that was washable. We were looking at some other options online, and some of them were dry clean only. And if it gets actually legitimately dusty, I want to be able to throw it in the wash.
Yeah, that'll actually be really nice.
So line up on the edge of your presser foot again.
Okay, and then presser footer down.
Yep.
Okay, and then I want to press that.
Well, nope, you want your needle to be down, because then if you move, it's easier. Okay. Now you can go a few stitches and then reverse.
Okay.
That's the one that's reverse.
Okay, I'm going to go forward a few stitches, and then I'm going to reverse a few. Then I'm going to go forward a few.
Yep.
And then I just need to guide it like before.
Yeah. And if you keep your edges lined up, hopefully we'll be pretty close when we get to the other end.
Okay. And I would normally be inclined to just go like super million miles an hour, but that doesn't necessarily always end in the best outcome.
Right.
See how this is not quite perfect? So now I need to reposition this a little bit. So I'm going to try to lift this up. It's just quite heavy, actually.
Yep. Just kind of get it all up on the counter.
Okay.
Yeah, then it's not pulling itself out.
So just more of the joys of powered paragliding, guys. Right here. Doing all the manly things like stitching covers. Which is cool. It's kind of fun to do different skills every once in a while. And then using your wife's nice tools. Because everybody's like, well, what does she do? Well, she does things that facilitate the things I need done.
Yep.
Like this. Ooh, see, I'm getting out of alignment here. I'll correct it way out here.
Yeah. Yeah, just make a subtle correction.
Ooh, that was terrible. Okay, see this now? I'm really getting screwed up now because I've got pressure from over here. So I'm trying to get that back in alignment. And that's probably kind of hard to see, I'm guessing. Well, we're in 4K. Ultra high definition. And I'm sure it's not going to matter because it's going to be turned inside out and the seam is going to look perfect anyway.
Yeah.
Or near perfect. Right?
Yeah.
Please say yes.
Yes. That's why you're doing this, because you're a perfectionist.
You would have been done with it 7 times by now, is what you're saying?
Hey, perfectionist, driving a straight line.
True. I just hate how it slips because I don't know where the needle is. Okay, there it is.
Yep. That's why you always.
I want to put this pedal backward. You see this pedal, guys? I want the pedal like this so I have better control over it.
That's fine.
Is that what only weirdos do? Whoa, that's why you don't do that. That's why you don't do it the wrong way. Okay. If I can fly that piece of fabric through the air, I should be able to press this pedal with impunity.
Actually, I always had kids take their shoes off. They always wanted to take their shoes off to sew.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, because you can feel the pedal better.
I'd rather have my shoes on for this.
It's because you're weird.
I know. It'd give me a more perfect result.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to ramp up to speed, or do you just want to just ram it in? What's
It doesn't
better?
really matter.
Does it really not matter?
Well, I mean, sometimes you kind of want to start slow so you like make sure you're in the right spot.
Oh, instead of just jamming it in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's true, because...
If you jam it in there too much, you might sew your fingernail.
Ouch.
Yep, seen it. It won't go through your nail, but it's not very fun.
I haven't done it, nor do I want to try. Oh, see, that's a problem. See? So what I'm doing, here, show them back here. I'm pulling this seam tight.
Yep. Yeah, see, it's going to end up just fine.
I don't know.
Yep.
Hey, you know what we didn't do?
What?
Since this is supposed to be a surprise filming,
What? Mic up?
we don't have mics on, so Mike, if you're listening,
Sorry.
sorry, dude. Better luck next video. Oh man, it's getting all screwed up, hon. Look,
Go slow.
what's going on here? Do I just need to hold it in the correct position a ways off
and
and
then
let
you
it
just
walk
need
back?
to make a gradual correction. Well, we gave it a plenty big seam allowance, so it'll be okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's just a heavy piece of fabric.
Yeah.
475 pounds per square inch. There it is. There it is. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. I need to hit the backboard thing. Right?
Yeah. You don't have to hold that one.
I'm holding it.
Okay.
Okay, now up.
Up. Yep. And then press your foot up.
Yes. Yes. We have succeeded so far. So now we have the world's largest pillowcase. Yay! Looks not terrible.
Yeah.
Yet.
It looks fine.
There's like pink crap all over it. What happened?
That's because our girls wear fuzzy socks.
Okay, so should I turn it inside out?
Well, wait. Are we going to go put it on and see what you think?
We'll put it on. We'll put it on.
Okay.
So we have a very precarious walk. You see this?
Yep.
We've got a river runs through it today because we had snow. And so here, only for the camera, we're going to turn on the fabulous light.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Pretty amazing, right?
It is.
Okay, so this is the paramotor, and what we want to do is we want to stop the this area, the fabric, and all this stuff from getting dust all over it. And I'll give you an example. This is like what it looks like when you get dust all over it. Mm-hmm. Ew, ew,
Yeah.
gross. Right there. Oh, and we have some new windsocks that are going up too. There's constant improvements. It's a constant evolution on Brian Phillips RC here.
Should sew your own windsock.
Challenge accepted. She's shaking her head. Okay, so am I like doing this right? I don't know how to do this stuff.
No. Well, I don't know.
No, I'm doing it wrong?
Just
Am I?
throw it up there.
Well, I know, but I don't want to like pull the thing over. Goodness gracious, this thing weighs like 5,000 pounds. What is that thing up there anyway? Is that a kitchen table?
No. It's a dining room table.
How did we get a dining room table in
I don't know.
garage?
We
What
needed
happened?
to get
What's going on here at the Brian Phillips Hacienda?
we needed to get rid of one, and somebody suggested that we screw it to the wall
Oh yeah, there's that. That
because
did
they
happen.
needed to store boxes of empty bottles.
Hey, look, it's the leaf blower.
Yeah.
That performs terribly on our channel. Thank you, crowd.
But you know what?
What?
The thing works, and we use it all the time.
That
So
thing blows
there you go,
awesome.
people. You missed out. Do you want me to help you?
No.
Okay.
I'd rather struggle for
Okay.
fun. It makes for better video.
It's like
Watching me struggle.
the longest, most
Look like
ridiculous
a
video
fool.
ever.
Always it's what I do best. So, what's
Doesn't-
going on there?
Doesn't look like you're planning to kidnap your paramotor or anything.
They'll never know what turns we took. Hold still. I'm trying to cover your head. Your giant, huge head. We're covering our daughter's bike too.
Oh.
There you have it. That doesn't look suspect at all.
So what's wrong with that?
Well, I don't know. First of all, this doesn't have the pink decorations on it. And then second of all, I still firmly believe that it would look... I think it would look a little bit less ridiculous if it was stitched like this, don't you think?
Okay.
Or am I just crazy? I mean, even honestly, just folding it would make
I mean, it would be a lot easier to do it in a straight line.
I think it would, yeah, right. I mean, it would look better if you had the curvature to it. I think, honestly, what ought to happen is what we should do is we should pin this in this position or mark it.
Yeah.
And then that gives us, like, really what we should do is we should just start just before and just after and do our sweep like that, which would make it drop down neatly. Don't you think? I mean, you could do a drawstring on this and everything and really get it fancy.
You could. You over there.
Can't see your look.
It's okay.
It was a huge rejection.
We need
look of rejection.
we need the director's cut when I film so people can see me roll my eyes.
So, yeah, but I mean, I do like the fact that this is totally covered. And
Yeah,
the
it
top
is.
Totally covered. Show them behind. So they don't have to imagine what it would look like. See right here? Show them behind. Oh, yeah. It's all covered up.
Oh, look, it's a wall
Amazing.
and it's black
Wow.
fabric.
Oh, by the way, guys, I never really talked about this much because, I don't think we actually did a video including anything with this.
It was on there. It was on the wall when we did.
It was on the
yeah,
wall?
you mentioned it.
This thing goes into that thing, okay? So this goes into that, okay? So this thing comes out of that thing, and then this thing goes into that thing. And then once that thing's in this thing, that goes into that thing there. Then this thing goes to that thing. And there you have it. And then this thing holds the paramotor, and that thing holds the paramotor too. This pin comes out. This whole thing comes out.
I'm pretty sure you did that exact thing on the
I
other
did?
video. Yeah, I think so.
Oh man, I filled you guys on YouTube. And then this thing has a strap that goes around that thing so that you can make that thing go in the air and go boom, 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 boom.
Okay, we got to
Just
wrap
like
this
that.
up.
But yeah, anyway, so we just didn't want this in the walkway. But this was one of the things that Mike built for me, except he didn't include this. And I think the way this is going to work is I just wanted it to be secure, but in thinking about it after it was all too late, the security measures are sort of pointless because you can just unclip the thing and take it. So I guess I just, when I'm up flying, somebody won't be able to easily steal at least all of the frame. They can steal half of the frame.
I still don't understand why you think some dude at the gas station is gonna take your paramotor and put it in his
There
Prius
is a dark-
and drive off.
There is a dark underbelly to this world that you don't understand yet, lady. Seriously, what's that show we watch with that chick that
Trafficked.
hey, I'm here to work with you. Are you in the cartel? Oh yeah. Show me your inner workings. Let's go make some crack. How do we do it? And but it's okay, I'm pretty. Don't kill me, kill the other guy. So anyway, when you get back from your cartel visit, then you can put your paramotor right on your car and you'll have no problems.
Do you want me to go get you some pins?
I don't think we need pins. I think what we need is to mark it with chalk. That's what professionals do. They chalk mark it. Or we could just use
You were gonna say pins.
well, no, pins would be fine, I suppose. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the best choice is.
Pins.
I feel like we made this a little bit too big.
Well, we could.
But can you imagine how big of a pain that would have been to put on if it was any smaller?
Yeah, I think bigger is better.
Or the other thing is, I could just stitch this on and just make the pocket sort of shaped octagonal. So, I don't know. So anyway, guys, this is how you do this thing. What we'll do is we'll pause and then come back when we show you how it turned out after we bought one and replaced it with this. Wait, we're not going to do that.
No, it's fine.
Cut that out.
Okay, we'll pause when we decide what we're going to do.
Okay. So after much review and evaluation, we decided wisely to measure this and say that's, that's 28 and 3/8 inches. So like, I'm thinking if we did like 28 inches or if we did like 29 inches, we could almost just really throw caution to the wind and do 30 inches. Let's see how much this one was. See this one here, if you look at the easy way to do this, that's 27 inches. So I would say if we did 28 inches on each side, then it's going to self-center, which is what I'm after.
Yep.
So if after the 28-inch seam is stitched, if we still want it to look more tailored, then we can go in there and actually do another fold if we really care.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to need to. I think once we do that, we can go ahead and cut the excess. I had thought this fabric would make a good mic pocket for radio, because then you can have it up on your chest, because there is kind of a void here between like all the millions of straps that you have. And I can make a pocket for a cell phone and a pocket for a microphone, not a microphone, a pocket for
your radio.
Yeah, like two-way radio.
Yeah.
And that fabric will be good for that. So for the moment, that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring it in. We're going to stitch 28 inches
okay,
on each side. So wherever 28 inches works out, that's where it's going to go. Same on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so 28 didn't work out as good, mostly because I'm lazy. So what I did was I folded it, kind of made a seam, and then I just take the edge and it's like about 29 inches here, okay? 29 is the hypotenuse, so let's call it 20 and a half. And approximately 20 and a half. Okay, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's just gonna be, an approximate. And so basically, as my wife continues to make this delicious soup for me to eat, I'm gonna finish doing this, and then I'm gonna replicate that on the other side, and we'll show you guys how it turns out. Now I need to cut off the part that I just stitched here. Now you could have just cut it, but I wanted to have that extra thickness there for strength, and also I didn't want to have to worry about getting this. So is that good enough?
Yeah, give yourself a little bit of a seam allowance, but that should be fine.
Okay.
Do you want
That's some strong stuff.
better
Holy
scissors?
crap. These scissors are not terrible actually,
Okay.
but man, that stuff is strong. Wow. Yeah, better scissors would probably be a smart maneuver. I think I need better scissors because I'm gonna end up screwing these up.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Try those.
Okay, so better scissors. I don't really know why these are better, but because the kids haven't used them to cut open
Yogurt tubes.
yogurt tubes for 7 years.
No, because paper is hard on your scissors. So those are only for fabric.
What about aluminum foil?
That's why they're hiding in my bin.
Okay, so if I cut this, we're good?
Yep.
Okay, so then this will be used for another project, and I'll have 2 of them like that. So I'm not sure exactly how all that's gonna work out, but we do have double thickness. You can imagine when it gets out there, then you'll turn it inside out. You'll have a seam that looks something like that. Mm-hmm. So we'll get the other side done at 29 inches, 21 and a half, 21 and a half, and then we'll be able to flip it inside out onto the device and see how it looks.
Okay.
Okay, so both sides are cut. 29 inches, 21 and a half, 21 and a half, 29 inches, okay? So now we just have to turn it inside out, and there's a finished machine edge on the bottom, all the way around. So now we just turn this inside out, and that's what we actually have for a finished, high quality seam. And hopefully it doesn't break apart in front of you. And then you have to show the people now while I'm unfolding this.
What you're gonna eat for dinner when we come inside?
It's gonna be delicious.
Chicken and noodles.
Chicken and noodles. So now we have a nice finished seam. just like this, all the way down. Looks like you bought it online for $100 of dollar. And instead you bought it for less than $100 of dollar.
Are we gonna take it out there and
Yes, we're
put it
gonna
on?
Put it on there. But I just wanted to show you. Don't forget to turn it inside out. You have nice finished edges all the way around. And then that will help to keep the dust down off of your expensive investment. And then when you're ready to fly, you pull it off of there and you just have the mud from where you slammed into the ground and things like that.
Right. So.
And other things that you didn't clean up from previous flights. But anyway, we're going to show you in just a second. We just wanted to show you inside. And yes, it did work. The 29 inches worked fine.
I think it'll be fine. Yep.
So we'll show you outside.
Okay.
So we agreed that watching me struggle was part of the fun for you guys. So we decided we would let you watch me struggle. So I've got the inside seam now. And I'm just trying to figure it out. Now I did do a single clamp right there just to hold it down. Mostly I did that for fear of the children coming out here and like pulling on it. So I said, it's not gonna stop.
Or getting their bikes.
If an adult comes by and pulls on it, it's gonna break. But the reality is if the kids pull on it, you know, like when they're getting a bike out, it's not gonna fall on them. This thing is really not that heavy. It's like as heavy as a heavy bag of groceries. It is. It's only like 60 pounds. I mean, I have to put it on my back and fly with it, for goodness sake.
You must not buy groceries very often.
60 pounds of groceries? Are you kidding me?
I was just wondering when the
That's
kids
the
were.
way I pack it when I put them in there. I got like six bags thick, and I got the entire year's contents of groceries all in one bag, giant 6 sack.
I was just wondering when the kids were using the chop saw
What?
by their bike.
Well, when the kids use the chop saw, then I'm a little bit concerned the dust is going to blow up here too.
Well, we'll move the chop saw.
So yeah, so you just have to get it on the outside of the beautiful prop, and then you should be good to go. It should fall right down, and also look quite nice. Looks way more tailored now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think trying to do a perfect sweep on there would have been
Probably unnecessary.
Well, I mean, it would have been nice, but it's definitely not necessary. The
Yeah.
other thing too is, I think if you guys at home are really wanting to make this a nice tailored job, take this last, 1 to 2 inches and make a pocket, cut a hole, put a grommet, and then put a pull string, and then you can pull string this and it will cinch down under real nice. But honestly, I think that's fine for what I wanted to do. It was mostly just a dust shield. And if I play my cards carefully, I can get even, see my,
You're clamping the
caught
way.
on something over there. That's part of the reason why it's kind of laying funny. Yep, I'm caught on the prop. The prop is preventing it from falling. Now it's all the way down.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go, guys. Super easy. What do we pay for fabric on this?
With a coupon at Joann's, it was like $5.25 a yard. I
And
think
if
it was
you're buying
normally
from Joann
$9.99.
fabric and you're not using a coupon,
You're doing it wrong.
seriously, there's always a coupon,
Yep.
no matter what fabric store you go to.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Pretty
there you
much.
have it, guys. That's why you come back to Brian Phillips RC for non-RC related things like this. Ooh, fancy. Look at that thing. It blows wonderfully. Especially if there's a 40-volt battery in there. Watch this. This is going to be cool.
It's so cold.
Is that enough?
Good thing you're the one that gets to go take out the garbage.
Since this one got like our lowest like ratio, we figured we would refeature it today.
People.
Second thoughts. Just kidding. Here it is. You're not voting for the beautiful thing that we are reviewing. You're voting for how awesome the video was done.
Yes.
So don't forget to give us a thumbs up.
And my chicken
if you
noodles.
want to support us, seriously, we have to make a lot of chicken noodles to feed 6 people. And I'm one of them,
Yeah.
obviously. So if you guys want to support us, there are links down below for Patreon, PayPal. And of course, if you don't like supporting us that way, which I wouldn't myself, I would buy an awesome plane from down below, or even this wonderful blower, which we are not going to link to, but you can find it on our channel because it's one of our most popular videos. Thanks for watching. Come back for more. YouTube is Brian Phillips. So we've been preparing since we have this beautiful sunset, and we've been doing all sorts of very small upgrades and changes to our life to help prepare us for the powered paragliding. And so I wanted to show you a fixture that I got, and we've rigged it up on the work truck because my camera crew was gone running errands. And I'm gonna show you just how awesome this thing works, how we can switch it between cars within just a few seconds. And when I say seconds, I mean minutes. So anyway, this is a tool that I purchased as part of my investment into powered paragliding because I knew that at some point I would need to take this thing with me. Now, all this stuff comes apart from here and here. This netting gets released over here, and you can take that whole cage off in minutes. You can take off the prop in minutes. And then as you can see, I have the torque specifications here, torque to 105 inch-pounds. And I do have a small torque wrench. I did have to buy a special torque wrench to be able to apply that little of torque. And the one we found worked really nice. And it was cheap, so we'll go ahead and link to that for you guys. You can spend a fortune on little inch-pound torque wrenches, but I didn't want to spend a fortune. I think we had like 40 bucks or so in it. Yeah. And it comes in a kit. It's got all the tools I needed to do this, which is really nice. And that fits in my bags. Those 2 bags will go with me when I fly. They have my wing, and then the one on the right is where all the prop and everything would store. And just for the record, I had all of that stuff, including all my overnight stuff and all sorts of weather gear that I didn't know what I was gonna need because I went December 27th through the 31st of 2021, which means all that stuff was in our family car. So the family car, which is a Traverse, as you know, has folding seats, or maybe you don't know that, but it has a 3rd row. So you can see the 3rd row would have been down, full disclosure, but if the 3rd row wasn't down, you can still put that paramotor in that spot right there if you wanted to. And then that stuff will all fit inside of that red bag. And inside of that red bag is another bag. So anyway, I'm not gonna take it down that far today, but what I wanna do is I wanna take a minute and just show you how cool it is to have it in a 2-inch hitch receiver. So obviously this big truck that I use for work has a 2-inch hitch receiver, and then I think it has a 2.5 as well. But this is a 3/4 ton truck. This is just a family car, and it does have a 2-inch receiver on it. So secondly, I just want you guys to know I did 2 modifications to this whole frame. Well, technically 3 because I touched up the paint, but I did 2 things. One thing I did was I opened up the hole where that pin goes. You can see I've just got the work pin in there. I'm gonna use this locking pin, and we can link to that too. This was another inexpensive option. And we scoured the world to find the best option for us because the way that all this crap is located on the bottom of our truck, it's just awkward. So I wanted something that was easy, that you could put in with the key out and lock it, okay? That's not always the case, by the way. Sometimes you have to have the key in there. I'm having visions of walking into this, by the way.
Don't do that.
But anyway, the regular pin's in there, and we're gonna show you how all that works. Obviously, we have a 5-gallon container of fuel. This is mixed. I put my mix ratio right on the side, and then I have a little cap in case this hose is way stiffer than I thought. This is a type of fuel container that you can get at the implement stores, but this will also fit other gas cans, but just make sure you're careful to measure. I believe that was 10 by 10. Mm-hmm. So it fits perfect. It's got a frame around it and everything. And then obviously I have a lock, and then I have a security, but also a tie down, as well as just a comfort tie down to make sure it doesn't pop off. This is probably a bit insufficient. It'd be better to have a tie down strap if you were going for a long ways. But there again, if you're really going for a long ways, I had to drive 3.5 hours to get home. And I drove in a blizzard. So, well, it wasn't quite a blizzard. It was like an ice storm, let's call it. And this thing was sitting in the back, totally toasty and fine. And the paint was setting up on this because they just painted it before I left, like literally minutes before I left. So, as you can see, we've braced the prop. This is the first thing. And that didn't come with it either. I had to add that, not a big deal. We had a few of these around anyway, but we just bought a bunch of them. So, nothing special there. These are hollow core, so you want to protect them. But I'm just showing you how I did that because this, believe it or not, some of these steps are just kind of weird. Like you don't do things like this a lot. And you're probably thinking to yourself, but Brian, that's going to be going like 8,000 RPMs at takeoff. Why do you need to brace it for transport? You know, I kind of wondered the same thing, but that's just kind of what people do. So I think there's a reason for it. And mostly it'd be to help wear and tear on this. And you don't want it free spinning forever and just ending up with a problem. The other thing is you'll want to probably pull your keys out before you drive somewhere. The key set is the same for all those locks. When I bought these locks, I think I got them for like 20 bucks at the hardware store, or less than 20 bucks. And I got 4 with matching keys. Now, it would have been really nice if I could have had to match this key too, because then everything would unlock. But I didn't. This came with 2 sets of keys or whatever, so it's fine. And then it came with these O-rings to help keep the noise down, because these tend to rattle. So, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and disassemble this, take it off the rig, and then go ahead and lay it on the ground, and I'll show you how easy it is to switch it over. So right here, I have a pin here. Now this is not a lock, because I realized I might need, instead of just 4, get the 6-pack, or get 2 4-packs, or a 4-pack and a 2-pack. And then you'll have 1 extra or 3 extra, because this really probably should be locked too, because this sort of is self-defeating, since you can pull this off and pull the whole thing through. I had a lot harder time getting it one way than the other, so I just went the way that it worked. So let's show you how this paramotor comes off. So you can pull this off either side. So of course, just imagine there was 2 locks, but in this case, there's just 1. I'm gonna probably put a stainless bolt over here with a washer, and then I'll just mar the thread so that if somebody's really motivated, they're gonna get this thing off anyway. So look here, see these bushings? Don't lose the bushings. These bushings slide in, and you can put those right back on for storage, okay? And these just help to protect the finish, okay? And full disclosure, I opened that hole up. It came with lynch pins, okay? And then these were the pins that were included to hold the frame together. So there was really no security involved. And so for me, I wanna be able to go into the rest stop and go to the bathroom, wash up, and not be nervous about somebody stealing my rig, okay? Because this is expensive, and it's not like you can just get regular insurance for these things, okay? So we have it unlocked down there. Now we need to unlock above and then make sure it's secured so it doesn't fall. So I just unlock that. This just slides through, and you'll note there's heat shrink on top and bottom, so there's no marring on the finish, which is really nice. I'm super glad that was the way it was. And the guys at Fly PPG did a nice job. It's flyppg.com, Discovery. PPG is what they go by, but their website's Fly PPG. So you can order this online, or you can order it when you're getting all your goods, and then you can pick it up. So I'm gonna grab this frame in a number of different ways. I usually don't pick up a paramotor from the back. Make sure that your kill switch is on. Mine has an electric start. The kill switch is on, so it's in the off condition for the power. And then my battery is disconnected, okay? So I'm gonna pull this out, and then this thing will have a tendency of wanting to drop down. So I'm just gonna lift up, and then I'm gonna carry it back a little bit. It's a little awkward, but you can do it. You can do it without help, okay? So then I'm gonna lay this down, and then I'm gonna put this thing back up. That thing just came off. So that's just a rubber boot. So I'll just re-cement that on. They use rubber cement, but it probably came off because it was sitting in my car drying. So now I can unpin this or leave it together. I'll show you just so you can see what it looks like, because we hang this on the wall in 2 pieces, okay? And we just hang it with now the locks installed so they're ready to go. Or you can take those off and just put your original lynch pins back in. These are, I don't know if they're called lynch pins, but the other ones were lynch pins. Okay, so in our case, I'm gonna put that back on right now just to show you how easy it is. Okay, so I usually wiggle a little bit until it goes, and then drop it in, lock it, and then you're golden. Now obviously I don't wanna do this with the fuel on here because this is very heavy. So I'm gonna go ahead and unlock this. Spin. I'm gonna undo my little comfort strap. And again, it's not like you're guaranteed you're gonna need the fuel. Depends on how much you fly. You can put fuel in your rig, okay? So you see I've got this, I use this to pull that tight, okay? And then it just slides out. And then see, this will slide through. So you gotta be careful the way you do this if you use this style of lock, okay? So then I can just literally lift this up and leave the strap right on it. So we can lay that down. And then this thing comes off just like any other regular 2-inch hitch receiver. So I'm just gonna use this, move it around a few times, make sure we have freedom. You see how the pin's free? Okay. We can slide it out, and just like that, show the people, just a regular 2-inch hitch receiver. I opened this hole because the way they designed it was to work in like an XUV or whatever, you get like an off-road vehicle. Okay. So now I'll just slide this into another 2-inch hitch receiver. In this case, I want to show you one other detail. See how this door is opened? You're not going to be able to close it, but once you get this thing on, you can take off the top, okay? So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and take this off because it's easier. We'll close the door just to make sure you guys can see that everything fits, but note that it won't clear, okay? So here on Brian Phillips RC, we always show you the good, bad, and ugly. And in this case, that's probably not the best, but at the same time, you don't want this thing sticking out any further than it has to be to get the job done. Because if it did, then it's going to be a real pain in the neck for storage. It's going to be a lot heavier, and you're going to have a huge lever arm because it is actually pretty heavy. And then note that there is play here, okay? That's because you're not going to have exact dimensionally on all this stuff. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is basically put either the paramotor or the fuel. So I guess since we did it in this order, we'll do it with the fuel first. As you can see, I have a mark on here. That's so I can balance it on the wall really easy, because that's the way I designed it to work. In our world, it doesn't have to be that way. And you see how you got a little bit of a pivot there? That reminds me that I never actually put the pin in. I'll show you this one this time. So if you look here, just pop that off. Find the spot where it slides in. And of course now I've got the fuel on there, so it's super heavy. So I think I'm gonna take the fuel back off. Sorry folks. So now that I got the fuel off, I can actually move the thing. Because believe it or not, that side load really locks it in there. Okay. Okay, so now we're lined up with the hole. And I'm just gonna kind of wiggle and jiggle until things align. Note that this does not have an angle on it like a normal pin. So it can catch a little bit more than usual with a normal fixture on a 2.5 inch or 2-inch receiver. And what was that, 5/8?
I think so. I think that's what we ended up going with.
Because if you had a smaller pin, it'd be easier to get in and out. But I wanted the extra robustness for safety.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want this thing popping off.
There you go.
Okay, so it's all the way through. And like I said, you don't need to have that actually got a key in it. And I have all the O-rings in there. Is it all the way through?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. But then you can also have the key in there. In our case, because I'm going to take it off in like 2 minutes, I'm going to leave the key in there. What did I manage to do to myself here? Oh, the key goes in that way, which is good. Okay. Give that a wiggle for me. Just wiggle it out there so it's the longer lever. Just back and forth, back and forth. I can't tell if it's on. Is it on? Nope, it's not on. So the security pin is really critical. Otherwise, somebody could just take the whole dang thing off. And I think part of my problem is I've got
O-rings slipped?
the O-rings. I think I decided I was going to put 3 on either side.
Oh.
To really try to keep the noise down, but like who cares? It isn't going to be that big a deal.
It's a lot far.
Yeah, it's way more penetration. Maybe that's what I was doing wrong, is I had too many O-rings. Okay. And then I'll just turn the key to make it easier on our viewers. So that's on there, and then there's a cap. So if you're driving where it's frozen, be careful to install that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good use of your time. Okay. So now you've got security on the rig. It's not going to get stolen without somebody being pretty motivated. Now we need to put the fuel on, and then we can put the paramotor on. So as you can see, the video has been what, like 10 minutes long?
15.
15? Jeez, that's longer than I wanted it to be. So all I'm gonna say is, If you were flying an airplane, you'd be spending a lot longer doing this stuff, okay? So, and I haven't decided if it'd be better to just kind of feed through here, and I'm just kind of wrapped through the handle just to give me something to bite. And then I'm just gonna pull these back up.
You're crossed over here. Do you want them to be
No,
crossed?
that's okay.
Okay.
And then I'll just get another lock, and that lock will make up our difference. And these longer openings were by design so I could reach through all of these universally. So, if you got a better strap setup, or maybe like a bike lock, it might be a little easier, but I found that this worked really nice, because then I could take and then run this through. You have to run it through the actual thing, like this. Otherwise, you can easily defeat the safety and security. Okay, and I think I must have gone the other way with one of these. I think that's what I did last time. So it'll go like this. Okay. And like I said, in my case, this might not be the most secure method, but it's gonna definitely get the job done, especially where we're gonna be doing this, because hopefully we'll be on our own property. Okay, so just take my word for it on that to a degree. But as you can see, you can get those in there and get those locked up however you see fit. And then the comfort strap will help provide a little extra security to keep this from wiggling and jiggling. So we'll just leave that where it is for now. Then we want to put this thing back on. I would normally pick up a paramotor like this, and it's weird to actually pick it up backward, but I'm gonna pick it up backward. Just remember before you do that to get your pins and stuff in close proximity so you can reach it all.
Okay.
Because once you're over here, it's hard to go back and forth. And then this here, have that ready, because that's what actually keeps it in place at the beginning. So if you were trying to cheap out and you wanted to get it as cheap as possible, just get 2 locks. And you can lock here and here, and then you prevent people from separating this. But then all they have to do is pull your pin. So then you got to get a pin, and don't use this as your pin. That's dangerous, especially if you're on the road. So we're gonna pick this up right here on the frame if you can. Okay. And I'm just resting it on my belly. The thing that's awkward about this is I'm so new to the sport, I don't know where I can grab yet. I'm still learning so much. And you wouldn't want to grab that when it's hot like this. But what I'm gonna do this time, see what I'm gonna do? Watch, camera crew. I'm gonna hook on here, and then I'm gonna control the bottom. Okay? So it's not falling by the grace of God. You see what's going on down here? I'm just gonna lift this up, and you see? Can you grab that top, please, and hold it?
Up or down?
Hold it. You don't have it, hold it. You need to actually hold it. Okay. Okay, and there you have it. So now it's hooked on. And I went down like this. And then this comes straight up through the hole. You can let go now. I only asked for your help because it was falling.
Okay.
Okay, see? Once it's locked like that, then it's not gonna fall off.
Right.
But it's just awkward to get it down here. I'm trying to figure out the best way, the easiest way to actually kick that up. And then this thing popped off, and that's annoying. So I'll have to fix that, which is not really a big deal. All it is just adhesive. So at the end of the day, you can see how this works. It's protected from all the marring points. And then all you have to do is basically put this thing back through. Now, of course, I'm gonna want another lock if I wanna have it totally secured or a bolt, but we already sort of discussed that, so. And again, I opened this up. It was supposed to receive a small linchpin, so I opened it up just a little bit on mine. And then this passes through. Now, you wouldn't actually need, with 100% certitude, to have these bushings in here, but that gives another spot to protect the finish on your, in my case, I've got this foot. It's called a foot. And, or like a bumper foot or something like that, I don't know. I'm such a not expert. But that's what you get here on Brian Phillips RC, a non-expert telling you things about his new endeavors. Okay, so there you go. And this goes through. And then probably point it this way so that the water and splash and stuff doesn't come back, okay? So there you have it. It's certainly not a 5-minute thing, but it could be a lot worse. And now we're secured, and the only thing that we have to do is just open the back so we can put the things in that we forgot. Except we wouldn't do that. We would open the side and throw them in the side. But the idea is this works on a car, this works on an XUV, which would be like an off-road utility vehicle, I think is what they call, or extreme utility vehicle. And then I think I'll probably set something up on my tractor so that I can drive into weird spots. And one of the things I want to do too is to take on this pole right here, and I'm going to make a point and put in either a PVC or another piece of steel, weld it on there or whatever. And then I'm gonna have a place to put a flag straight up, a 22-foot flag with a 15-foot windsock. Because one of the biggest safety features in powered paragliding is making sure that the wind is the right speed. And you don't just look at the wind here, you have to look at the winds aloft. So that's it, guys. I probably didn't make that look very easy, so sorry, Mike, sorry the guys that fly PPG.
If it took 20 minutes the very first time, like
this is the second time I've done it. I did the first time over here and while I was waiting on her to get back, and then this is the second time.
Yeah.
So then basically when I take it off, we put it on the wall. We have 2 screws on the wall, and then the paramotor goes here. And I have a clamp that sits on the floor right now, and that clamp will actually hold the back down, similar to the way that the foot is clamped in there. And as you can see, if you look down the side of this car, it's largely protected from the wind. Mm-hmm. So that's important because at the end of the day, and then look, we made this, which we'll put a clip at the end of this. We made a cover to keep the dust off. And then this was a fiasco. The holes in the wall have nothing to do with this project, but I have 1 screw, and then I have another screw and another screw. And they're both in studs. Not that they would have to be. This was why there's lots of holes. Yeah. And that is a scary thing.
That was not fun.
Yeah, that was not fun. So that's what's so cool about having a manned aircraft, legal in the United States at least, without any licensing or health certifications. And it sits in a footprint that's, let's call it 3 by 6, so 18 square feet, plus the 2 bags, which you could technically put on the ground, but I'm just trying to keep them off the ground in case mice would get in there or do some damage or whatever.
Our the floor gets wet in the winter.
So then you would take these 2 bags and you'd be set. And that has additional, this is AMSOIL Dominator, which is what we were recommended to use. So I'm using that because I don't know any better. And I used half of this per 5.5 gallons. I know they wanted 40-to-1 ratio, but technically the manual cites 50-to-1. And I was like, well, I can split this and at least get 2 fills out of it. So you guys might want to do a little bit more oil. I just don't want to burn so much oil on that 2-stroke. But the guys at Fly PPG recommended 40-to-1, which would be exactly, for every gallon you put in there, it'd be 0.3125 ounces of oil for 40-to-1, okay? And on the side of this, it happens to have markings, which is nice. They do sell this on the website too, which is nice. Again, we're not really affiliates, so, but they trained me and put up with me, which is a miracle in and of itself. And I didn't get murdered. And yeah, so that's good. So that was a victory for everybody involved. Yeah. And when spring comes, I'll be flying that with some help from a very experienced pilot locally. And then at some point, I hope to go back for some spot landings, which will help me to get a US PPA 2 rating, because my US PPA 1 rating is basically like a book test in the fact that you flew. So it's fairly easy to get that, and I don't really care that much about the ratings. But the thing is, the ratings are important if I would start working toward, at some point in the future, the distant future, distant is key, getting tandem licensed so that I can bring people for rides safely and legally. Because when you do that, you have to be endorsed by an FAA approved, like a liaison within the hobby. So in this case, they're through the governing body. In this case, it'd be the USPPA if you're in the United States. So if you're overseas, I don't know what your governing bodies are. Just look it up. I mean, I normally don't push rules on you people because you're adults, unless you're children, and then if you're children's, listen to your parents. You're big boys or girls, you can figure out how you want to treat your own safety and well-being. You know, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Same thing with radio-controlled airplanes. So ridiculous. We have more rules for radio-controlled airplanes than we essentially do for this. Now, that's not all totally true because we still have flying restrictions, airspaces, and there are laws and there are night and day rules and, cloud clearances and things like that that have to be understood and respected. But they're all pretty reasonable things, and they're kind of like the things that keep you alive so you don't get sucked in a 747 engine. So I can think of ways I'd rather die than getting sucked into an engine or ran into by another plane, right? Can you, camera crew?
Yeah, probably, a few.
Yeah. Not the ones you do. Don't be smiling. So anyway, at this point, the reason we show you all these things is because I'm super excited about it, and I hope you guys are too. I don't know exactly how these things are going to flow in terms of release dates and all that good stuff, but we're working hard to make it that we can share our experience in the usual Brian Phillips RC, no BS way, where we show you some of the highs and some of the lows. Maybe not all the lows, because some of the lows are just straight up embarrassing. And then there's a lot of frustrating things that happen when you're learning a new, challenging thing.
And people don't see all of the conversations that we have behind the scenes and the things that
Right.
you and I do together to talk about all this stuff and
Safety,
make decisions and
yes. Safety and
it's
accommodation for
not
where are we going to put the
didn't
Windsocks?
think about this.
Yeah,
but
how are we going to get back and forth? How are we going to pay for this stuff? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? All that stuff is important stuff, and we can't show every single aspect of it. But if you want to know the best way to get started in this hobby, get a book called the Ppg Bible version 6. Or is it 6?
6 is the most current.
6 is the most
edition,
current? I was thinking there was a 0.3 in there. I don't know why. But anyway, we'll link to it. It's like, I don't know, 35 or 50 bucks or something, whatever it is. Whatever it is, when you buy it, it is what it is. So just follow the link. You can buy that thing. It will help to address some of your immediate lingering questions, like what size parachute do I get? It's not a parachute, it's a wing. Okay, and that's the sort of thing you're gonna learn really quick is the lingo, which honestly, the lingo is pretty easy. You'll pick up on a lot of it really quick, and then I'll just screw it up for years to come. But it gives you some really good advice on helping to pick instructors and some of the criteria you can use to judge whether or not they suck or not. Because like, if you're like me, you didn't know. And you may have a lifetime of being into aviation, but you may not know anything about this hobby and, or sport or whatever you want to call this thing, lifestyle, whatever. The point is, when you're flying a radio controlled airplane, you got to work really hard to get hurt, like actually hurt, like to the point of dying. In PPG, people have and will continue to die if they're not careful. So you need to be really careful. But I don't look at it as a dangerous sport. I look at it as a sport that you can make as dangerous as you want it to be. And so for me, I'm taking things very regrettably slow because I have people to answer to. So I'm trying to be super careful and take it slow and safe and do every precautionary method that I can come up with that's within reason. Up to and including getting quotes from our power company to bury the power lines, which could cost a lot. But it is what it is. We are checking into it, just so you guys know. So that being said, there's a lot of things on the agenda here at Brian Phillips RC. The camera crew has been sucked into much of it, and so that's wonderful for me.
Whatever you people see, I'm here 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, we appreciate you guys. As usual, thanks to the patrons for the people that support us with random PayPal gifts. We're blown away when we see those things. Thank you so much. That's super cool. Especially you people that are overseas and you can't buy from the links because the shipping is ridiculous. Ridiculous. We understand that everybody has an RC budget. If you're made of money and it doesn't matter, then buy it from the links. But we get it. We're real people too. We have to work for a living. So when you do send us a gift to make up for that, we really appreciate that, but you certainly don't have to do that. We just want you guys to get out there, fly, and live the lifestyle and really enjoy it. Because remember, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I didn't just say YOLO, but it's kind of like a more precise way of saying it. Okay, you do only live once. Don't wait 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 years to do what you want to do today. Because remember, in 10 years, you might be dead. a lot of death talk today.
I know. It's like,
very morbid
ending
today.
on that, or?
But I just want you guys to remember that there is no guarantee that you're going to have good enough health to do something like this. Or maybe your health sucks right now and you can't run enough to do this. Well, start working on it if you want to. Or maybe you don't have enough money to buy this stuff. Well, start working on that. You can do it if you want to do it. So just start working on it. Figure out, make a list, check it twice, just like Santa Claus. And then start working through the list one by one by one. And then when you get to step 473, you'll be at training. Then when you get to step 675, you'll be hooking it up to the back of your Traverse. There'll surely be some interruptions. That's the way life goes if you're an adult. And if you have a family in America, you'll have a lot of interruptions. But at the end of the day, if you want to do this, don't start thinking about it like in 10 years, because 10 years will never come. You will literally die wanting to do it. So that's my 2 cents worth. And if you aren't sure if you want to do it, which is a very valid, reasonable concern, find an instructor in your area that you trust, meaning you're going to have to drive a few hours probably. Call them and talk to them and say, do I trust this guy that's going to have my life in his hands? Yes, I do. Okay, I'd like to book a flight and I want to go on a tandem flight. Do you do tandem flights? Sure do. How much is that? $350, $400, $500, whatever it is. Spend the money. See if the guy will talk him into giving you a free ride if you do lessons with him. Otherwise, just paying for the flight. You'll find out if you like it. That's the one thing I didn't do that I kind of wish I would have, because I think it would have helped me to satisfy some of my curiosity because it's not like you're not going to find a buddy and just like, hey, you know, like I'm into aviation and I do all sorts of airplanes and toys and stuff. I mean, just let me borrow it. I'll just do it once. I'll just go around once and land. You won't. You end up cutting your hand off, or you'll die, run into power lines, or you get choked by the freaking lines on this thing. There's a lot of ways you can die. You can't do it with one time. And if you do it with one time, I'm super jealous of your skills. But the reality is you're not going to do it on your first time. You're going to fail 50 times before you even think about it. So just plan on it, get your resolve together, put the effort in, and by the time you're out there trying to fly this thing around, you will be motivated to continue in your pursuit. Okay? If somebody hands it to you, you're going to quit because it's hard. All right. Any other thoughts, camera crew?
I can't tell if you're a really good salesman or a really terrible salesman today.
No, I'm trying to be, this is the no BS salesman approach.
I know, there's a lot.
There is a lot to this.
this.
This is not just like, this is kind of like RC on steroids. And by the way, if you hear a squeal in the background, it's not a torture chamber. It's actually just a small heater. It's obnoxious because it's been really cold, but we insist on having the door open because there's a paramotor hanging out of it.
Right.
And there's a 1500 watt heater over here keeping our garage warm and toasty.
So maybe we should
wrap this up is what she's saying. Anyway, my point is, don't wait till tomorrow to start. I'm not saying start flying tomorrow. I'm saying start making a list, check it twice, and start doing things. A little bit every day will get you from where you are now to where you want to be. And don't blame anybody else if you wait 2 years, because you're going to be 2 years older, 2 years fatter in most cases, 2 years less healthy in most cases. And I mean, I'm just speaking statistically here, guys. If you want to fly, do it now. 2 years later, your eyes are going to be worse. I promise you. Unless you get LASIK, and then you're going to be better. There's always exceptions to the rules that Brian throws up.
Which you would also recommend. Which
I would recommend, highly recommend. And do it as early as you can. Do not wait 10 years like they told me to. That was so stupid. That was the hugest waste of money ever. But anyway. Waiting to do LASIK?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the stupidest waste of money ever.
The best money
I spent thousands of dollars on contact lenses and doctor appointments that I could have avoided. And I could have seen without them. So anyway, the point is, start today. Don't wait till tomorrow. When this video is over, click on the next Brian Phillips RC video and watch it in the background as you make your list. Is there anything you want to add, camera crew?
You've covered it.
Oh, wait, we're going to talk about the cover, so stay tuned.
You already told them that.
No, I know, but we're going to put that clip probably at the end, okay? So you guys can see what it looks like. We'll show you exactly what it looks like. It was super cold that night, so we filmed it all inside in our socks.
We did.
All right, that's all you got. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave the comments in the video description below. So much more to come. I can't even tell you what's coming because I don't know. All right, YouTube, I just thought of something that we didn't share, and I probably should have. We pulled our car in, and I realize that this is a garage. It's not your garage. but this stall is 24 feet deep from wall to door. And so we have like a 20-inch deep shelf here. Is that 20 inches?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. And we're parked so that we're just in it. In fact, the reason we're showing you this is because I wanted to show you that we can actually fit in the garage. And so I think that that's important to a lot of you, especially people that want to get this prepped the night before, because a lot of this flying ops are going to be done early in the morning. This door will fit, and we probably have, I would say right here, where the door seal is, we probably have 6 inches of clearance. And then at the top of this, I would say that we're probably 4 inches of clearance. So if you have a 24-foot deep garage to the wall, the nose of our car is just about 18 inches out. So this shelf is only 18 inches deep, 18 and a half to be specific. So, but we're going just inside of it, okay? So if you have a Traverse, that's 2011, right?
Yep.
And you buy this tool, then you can fit it in the garage with the garage door shut.
Yeah.
So, but you're not gonna have room to walk around unless you're extremely skinny. So the other thing I was thinking is your vehicle maybe allows for a little bit more clearance here. So you could actually bring it in and just drill another set of screw another hole so you could pin it in a little deeper. So that's all I wanted to show you. We'll show you the helmet stuff too. Stay tuned. All right, so we were just outside and showing you kind of how this goes onto the truck and or the Traverse, and that it fits in the garage. But then I wanted to just show you this. We used this rubber had popped off, and it was no big deal. We actually used mucilage. But the reason I'm sharing you this is because obviously we do radio controlled stuff. That's what started our channel, and that's gonna continue. But this mucilage, I wanted to show you a trick. We have a small space heater. This thing was obviously cold. It's supposed to be -2 overnight tonight, but it was very nice this afternoon. It was like, what, 38, 35, something like that. It was really nice, so just take my word for it. Compared to what we've been getting, sure, it was very nice. So the thing is, this is the one that we have had trouble with it coming out. If you put it in front of a heater, it will work way better, and I'm not hardly squeezing. So this stuff works really good, and it's a contact cement, and this is mucilage. This is the China glue, okay? You could use foam to foam, but it's not gonna work quite as good. The mucilage is a little bit more heavy duty, tacky. And so I glued this piece back on, so as you can see, it's on there perfect now, and it's not peeling on the edges at all. That was the thing that came off. And after taking everything apart, I came to the conclusion that it was sort of stupid to have locks down here, which in hindsight, it's good to know that, because if you buy this frame from flyppg.com, don't add locks down here. It's not necessary. You're gonna be locked up here and you can't really pull it off. Now, if you want the locks for an extra security measure, go for it. But the thing is, you're gonna have to buy 6 locks and you'll have an extra one. I could have bought 2. I have 2 instead here for my fuel tank because it was a lot easier to use 2. And then I have 1 here, and then I have 1 at the top. The one at the top is what actually prevents the theft of the device. And then this lock prevents the theft of the whole assembly, okay? But I wanted to show you this here. The mucilage has worked, and it's just all glued together. So that's all it is. So it just had, the rubber cement didn't take very good. So if you have the same thing happen, mucilage works fine. So the other thing too is I'm ended up with a quarter inch pin on the ends. And if I decide to put a lock on it at some point, then I can just put a stainless steel bolt through. And what I'll do is I'll take the stainless steel bolt, I'll put a nylock, and then I'll just bend or mar the finish so that if somebody's gonna take it off, they have to be pretty motivated. So I'll take a crescent wrench and just give it a tweak. Probably 3 or 4 degrees is all you need, and then you won't be able to back the nut off, okay? Like I said, if somebody wants it, they're gonna get it anyway. I mean, they'll steal your car or whatever. They'll break the window and find the key. So the key is, I just wanna make it so that it's a big enough pain in the butt that they steal somebody else's powered paramotor or whatever.
I see those all the time at the gas station.
The camera crew's constantly wanting to steal them. So that's why I'm so paranoid about it. But anyway, so I also put my security strap around here. And the idea is, my recommendation to you, as with any new hobby, get things set up, make it as quick and easy to execute as you can. because you're going to be a lot more likely to do it. So that being said, we're going to get this on the wall out there so it can be hung up and stored, and then we'll be back for one other thing we have to share. So we didn't expect we were going to come out here, so sorry camera crew, but this is the other thing. I failed to mention this. This is a transfer pump. It's like the cheapest, crappiest one you can get, but something like this, you're going to need something like this potentially to empty your tank. The tank on these things can be taken off, but it's really, really, really hard to get the take-up hose out. So you're not gonna be able to just quickly drain it. So when you take this thing out, you fuel up your aircraft, you've got a travel cap with no hole, and then you have a cap with a vent that you use when you're running. So you'll bring it with a travel cap on so you don't get debris in there, and also so that, I mean, it's a check valve, but you don't wanna get stuff in there and you don't wanna spill fuel out as you're driving. But then this gives you the flexibility to pull the fuel back out really easily, and then you can just run it back into the actual tank reservoir. So these things, you can pick them up for reasonably inexpensive, but the reason we got this one is because you can buy caps that go on here. How big was that, 3.5 inch hole? It's the bigger opening.
Yeah.
And that's the entire reason we got that was so we could get a pump. And then I realized the pumps are like 90 bucks.
Yeah.
Or how much was it? It was a lot.
A lot more than we thought they were gonna be.
It was way more. I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I got this thing for super cheap.
Well, I mean, that tank fits perfectly on that little
Yes.
square.
And that's why we
There.
ended up getting the tank we got. But then secondarily, I wanted to be able to get a pump, because then you can pump it back in and recirculate so you can mix your fuel to oil. And I'm like, why don't I just tighten the cap and shake it? Because it took 10
Well,
seconds.
and we can link to the pump that would fit on that tank, but
Yes.
it's the bigger of the two sizes that are like the common
Which is
ones.
just one of those things that I found at training. But I was just gonna show you how I have this configured on the wall. I have 3 screws, which I mentioned, and then everything is right where you need it, because everything is stored in about, let's call it 15 square feet, 18 square feet, depending on how tight you make it. And then this thing will go with me too. Wherever we go fly, I'll fold it up. It's just one of these,
like a scaffold.
like a scaffold ladder.
Yeah.
And that works really good for taking the thing off. If you don't want to bring that, I mean, you don't have to do it that way. You can just lay them on the ground and get them, but it's a lot easier to walk into it and then slide into your straps, because it's hard doing that even. For a taller guy like me, I'd like that thing to be about 4 inches taller to make it work for me, but then a lot of you guys would be, that's too tall for me then. So just keep that in mind. We're kind of going over a lot of accessories today. We got just a little bit more, so stay tuned. All right, so we also got one other thing the other day, and we weren't sure that it was important enough, cool enough to share as an entire unbox, build radio setup sort of thing. So I got a helmet for PPG. Now, first thing I'm gonna say is we got this helmet with the understanding that you can spend $250 to $1,400-ish on a radio with comms, earplugs, or not earplugs, but earmuffs that click out and click back down with a push to talk, UHF, VHF connectors that will go to your radio that will allow you to talk to air traffic control if you're doing that, and also to talk to your party in closer proximity. In my case, I opted for Bluetooth only, and I'll show you exactly what I did. Now, this is not gonna be a good solution for everybody. This is probably not gonna be a good solution when it's hot, but I wanted something that I could use when it's really cold, and I wanted something that I could use that would protect me as I'm new and still learning and have a higher chance of hitting my face on the ground, okay? You may not have that concern, so you may not wanna go with this style of helmet. I had a different style of helmet that you guys saw in our initial video, and that was just a regular like BMX bike helmet. You can use those, modify them. There's a plethora of videos on YouTube, just search. You'll find what you need to find, and if you guys really wanna see me modify a helmet, I'll probably do one at some point, but this is what I got. So it comes in a box like this. We'll link to this exact item, right? Because we got this on Amazon, right? So we'll link to it so you guys can buy the same thing if you like. And just keep in mind, it is Bluetooth only. There isn't a plug anywhere on this for a headset or a Kenwood jack or any of the double jacks that you need for UHF or VHF comms. But you can get comms that are 100% Bluetooth, and that is very normal. But it's also very expensive. So being that I'm interested in the possibility of some point in my life doing ultralight aircraft, I may spend the $350 to $450 and just get a proper radio. And then I will have better communication. Then I can hook up to my cell phone and do music or whatever. But it comes with this nice bag. This is a DOT approved helmet. It came with a small bag of goodies. I'd kind of packed a little bit more, and there was stickers on both the screen and the inner screen, which I'll get to here in a minute. They have instructions on how to take in and out the charger, or excuse me, the battery for charging, which you can leave it in and charge it as well. That's one of the number one complaints. It does come with a USB adapter for US AC plug. And then of course it's got a USB-A to USB micro, not mini. That's a micro. So it's at least somewhat current technology. I think most people are kind of going over to C by now, or if you're using an Apple, it's whatever they released the last time. So this is the helmet I picked. This comes in a bunch of different varieties, and I'm just gonna tell you my rationale for this particular helmet. Helmet's a highly personal decision. I'm not trying to tell you what's right for you or what's right for anybody else. I'm just saying this is what worked for us. This helmet ran a little bit over 200 bucks shipped, and in the arena of PPG helmets that are DOT approved, that is very good. You can get them cheaper. There were mixed reviews about a lot of stuff on them. I do like that it has a bag. Most of them are gonna come with a bag. Everything you have that goes into your stuff bag or whatever you're using to bring everything needs to fit in there. So this is a big helmet. It's also not as heavy as some people say in their reviews. It is less than 4 pounds total. That is a heavy helmet still. Some of the expensive premium PPG helmets are measured in the 1,000 gram range, which would be about 2.2 pounds. Okay, so that's half the weight. But you also have a lot less protection and it's not as comfortable. So if you show the people in here, this is very comfortable and supple, soft, very easy to clip on, very easy to take off. This is where you get to your batteries. You can take the whole battery out. This flap moves. You can release this here, okay? One of the complaints that people had is that this thing would break off really easy, and I believe that that would happen. So the whole battery assembly, because this is a Bluetooth, see, that thing is supposed to come off. Then you've got a battery in here, and you can see, you can pull it out with your fingernail, but if you didn't have a fingernail, you probably couldn't get it. There is a charging port there, or you can take the whole thing out, and do not bend these pins. This is a small battery. I think it's got like a few hundred hours of standby time, which is pretty good. But like honestly for me, during the summer, I hope that I don't have to charge this every single time I use it.
Yeah.
That is one of my big fears. But there is a sort of waterproof gland, and then it's not got any gasket, so it's sort of stupid. So I'm gonna just click this in here to hold that in place. You do have to be careful you don't catch that material there, because I've had that problem every time. See that material there? I have to pull it to the side, okay? But it's like a pseudo leather. It's not real leather, it's faux leather. But then this is rubber, and then this just tucks back in here. Anybody who's familiar with motorcycle helmets will be familiar with this. Now, is this a real DOT? This is an extra large helmet. I believe they do 2XL, and this is DOT approved. I don't know if that's real. The Chinese oftentimes cheat, so who knows if it's real. So we'll go ahead and show you the controls on the side. This is Bluetooth. You press and hold it for a few seconds and it turns on. The audio quality is very good in a quiet environment. I sat and listened to music. It was really fun. Looked like a dork with my helmet on for a few hours the other night. And I really enjoyed it. I feel like this needs to go back further. Am I missing something? Does it clip? No, it just goes back a little bit. Okay, so what I'm gonna show you before I put it on my head so I can show you, there's a vent here. There's a vent here and a vent here. Every one of these controls you can control from on, like with it on your head. So the next thing is there's a release here, and that lets go of 2 clips. Be aware, it goes up higher than you think at first. There's a clip point here and a clip point here. Don't get grease all over yourself, because there is grease in here. It's like a white lithium grease right there and right there. So just be aware of that. It's very obnoxious if you get grease on yourself. I find it much easier to put this helmet on with the face opened. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on. I do it like this, and then I pull and turn my ear so that it doesn't squish my ear, and I turn my other ear, and then I rock it so that my forehead goes in, and it's very comfortable. And at this point, I'm probably talking a little bit louder because I'm muffled. My second big fear is that this is not gonna be enough ambient noise block for at 8,000 RPMs when I'm taking off. Look how easy this is. That is so easy and a million times more comfortable. I haven't once got my hairs caught on it. When you have a clip and it's cheap and it's like one of the rentals at the training facility, it's gonna probably be in bad shape. It's gonna be used up. Probably had, 10 melons in the thing the last 6 months. So very comfortable. If you turn on the Bluetooth, there's a volume up, volume down. It does not spin. I'm concerned this may catch strings. If it does, I'll have to build a guard. To manipulate this up and down, you can do it with one hand, but you see how it's rotating it on my head? So I think the easier way is to use two hands. And then this, you see how I have to brace it? That's gonna be unfortunate, okay? There's a flap there. I have no idea how bad the audio is gonna be, so I apologize in advance. That can open, it's got clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the way open. And then that, which is tinted. It's okay to see through, it's not great. But obviously in heavy sunlight, it's gonna be perfect. And the thing that's really nice about this whole apparatus is that my visibility is way better than I expected. I can look down, I can see, I can look over and see, I can see behind me. I couldn't believe how good the visibility is. I can see my index fingers here, which is good with my peripheral, with looking forward. That's important to me. I want to be spatially aware. With this opened, you can open this one-handed, but to get it all the way, you have to hold, okay? Because it clicks. Now, the thing that's really nice about this helmet is that it's very secure on my head, but it is heavy. So that is a factor that you're gonna have to consider. I have very good protection. If I were to crash and have my face go down, this is gonna help to stop it from hitting my face still. If it's like this, it's gonna definitely help to protect my face. I figure the most likely chance of injury for me as a new pilot, it's not gonna be like crashing into power lines, although that is a real thing that you have to watch out for. I think it's more likely that I'm on a face plant and get hurt, get a scratch on my face, break my nose, whatever. Or have a bad landing and break a leg. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make the best decisions with the highest points of concern for myself, my wife, and family, or whatever. Also, I like that this covers in the cheek area, and it's way more comfortable. And I have some hearing protection here. If it's not enough hearing protection, I'll wear earbuds and then use the Bluetooth on that instead of the Bluetooth that's integrated to the helmet. Bluetooth pairing was very quick, very easy, and it worked for hours without any interruption. Audio quality on telephone calls is not amazing, but it's okay. And it's okay here and closed because the mic pickup is here.
Yep.
So it's very good. And you don't feel it, you don't know it's there, it's just there. In terms of looks from the back, I haven't really seen it from the back. I do feel like having this visor opened makes it a lot easier to manipulate open and close configuration. In duress, you can do it with one hand. It's latched. I feel like it's a little bit hard to get opened and closed, but that's better than having it flop. So, one-handed, throttle's over here. I can let go of this, stow the brake, get in here. And usually that means you're going in to the frame because you got the frame that lifts underneath your arms. And if you're like me, that rides under your armpit. So when you're running the controls, you've got the controls like this, and you've got a throttle that's attached to your hand, and you have to stow this brake and then come inside and then do that. And then you have to go back out. So I don't know how that's gonna work. The other thing too that I thought about on this helmet that I wasn't crazy about was, oh, the release is really easy. So you just pull that one string and it just comes right out. The one thing I wasn't crazy about on this helmet, first of all, I like the looks a lot. It is a little bit bigger than I expected, but I thought on a helmet like this, by the way, I just thought this thing was so cool. that comes down, and it looks so piloty, you know, like it looks like an aircraft.
And you can
helmet.
have that sun visor down even
Yep.
if the front part is up.
Did I not show that?
No, huh?
We need to show that. Now, I'm gonna show you putting on the helmet with the face closed. You can get it on with the face closed. One of the things I was concerned about, and I never did make my point, is that I thought maybe you could take this off. You probably can, but it's gonna be a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so watch. It does go, but you see how my ears are folded down? That's really uncomfortable for me. I don't know if you guys are more comfortable with that, but the problem is they never really release. They're still folded over. So if I do this and I pull it off, my ears get folded over like this and I can't get them to go up. I've tried a bunch of different things to kind of wiggle it and it just doesn't work. So I found the easiest thing for me, maybe not for you, but for me, is to just grab the sides and then ear in and then ear in and then bring it down. I worked for a few hours just to kind of get the feel. I never really felt like it was tight, like uncomfortable, but I've never once had one feeling of points where it was like making my head hurt. During training, every helmet I wore made my head hurt at some point to one degree or another. 100% of them. And they had a bunch of different sizes. So I think the rule of thumb is if you get a helmet, you're gonna have to take and shave out some of the foam if you're going for a smaller, tighter fit. So that's why I so much like this. And then yes, doesn't touch my nose, doesn't touch. Some people it might, for me it doesn't. It does kind of pull up on the helmet when you do the controls a little bit. So I'm very happy with this. I'm concerned that the lines might get caught here, but look at my visibility. I can see my cheek. Your cheek is always blocking your view. That's always in the periphery if you have good peripheral vision. And this is the only place where you lose vision. And it's just barely. I mean, you don't normally, if you turn your eyes, you can't really see there anyway. You have to generally turn your head. But in PPG, there's a lot of blind spots because you're in a machine and you can't always get all the way turned around to see what's going on anyway. And I fear that this might get in the way when you turn your head because you might get up against the cage. So I'm not sure if that's gonna be an issue, but for now, I feel like it's a fair balance of pros and cons. And in my case, I like so much better. The strap is so much more comfortable and I feel like I get so much more protection and I get a little bit of noise dampening and the Bluetooth is really good. So it's all included. I don't have to cut things up. I don't have to drill holes. I don't have to do whatever. Now, if you want a proper helmet, Fly PPG, the people we worked with for my training, they have an offering and it's more reasonable than some of the other offerings. I think they offer one for about 800 bucks with all the comms. And then there's a discount if you don't need the comms. So also they have a walkie-talkie that's inexpensive. So I'm thinking about getting one of those, but then there is a Bluetooth adapter you can purchase that plugs into the Kenwood plug. And I think it's a Bowang or something like that. I don't know, whatever
Something like
it is.
that.
Bangwo.
Bowfang or something.
Bowfang. It's a popular one for people that do PPG.
Yeah.
I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning the words. My whole thing was I wanted a helmet that would do Bluetooth in high fidelity as I can get. And then if I ever decide to upgrade this, it's just gonna be the same exact process, just ripping out, unsnapping, and doing what needs to be done, okay? So I'm very happy with this helmet so far, very happy. And if you guys are wanting to buy this, we'll put a link in the video description below. Make sure you measure your head. I measured mine. Do you remember what it was? It was like 24. It's like 61 centimeters.
Yeah.
So you'll have to do the conversion. For most of these companies are going to have centimeters.
And there's several different like color options
they
and
have
styles
white,
and stuff. So
they have flat white, shiny white. Then they have a flat black, like what I picked. They have a shiny black. Then I think
there's
there's
like a red or
yeah, there's
blue
something
or
else.
something.
I don't know. I liked the black. I felt like black was good. I just hope it doesn't get hot in the sun. So if that's the case, you know, you just kind of take your licks and hope you don't have that problem. Very, very happy with it. I think it looks sweet. I didn't think I was going to be able to get a nice looking helmet like this. I thought I was going to have to settle for the, you know, like the band cap helmet, which seems to be like kind of the popular look.
Do you have a problem with band people?
My wife was like the first chair flute player or something.
Not like I was.
She was. So anyway, the next thing and the last thing we've talked about a lot of accessories today. The reason that we're talking about the accessories is namely so you can buy the things that we bought if you want to help support our channel, just like with the airplanes, you can follow the links. And we have an Amazon master link too, But if you want to go to Fly PPG and talk to those people about maybe getting into some training or doing exactly what I did, I would highly encourage you to do your homework, pick the trainer that's right for you. I am not going to fall on my sword for anybody in this whole community. I was very happy with my training, but the thing is, it's a highly personal decision. So you guys want to emulate what I did. I don't think you're going to have a worse experience than I did. I had a very scary first flight, and most of it was my fault. So if you think about that and you think, hey, I could probably do like what he does. I'm a big guy, I'm heavy, I'm tall, I'm whatever. Figure out what you think you can equate with your situation. Now, this is another thing that we got along the lines of the PPG stuff. And so we'll just open this. I thought I had already opened this thing. Oh, I did.
Oh, I was going to say.
It's like a fold up lid. Yes. So normally we unbox things. We do the Virgin unbox or whatever. Well, we're not super worried about that. We just want to share with you what we bought. Okay. So this is another thing that you can buy. Again, in terms of Fly PPG, we didn't get anything for free from them. 100% of what we did was bought and paid for. And so whatever affiliation we have with them is just strictly coincidental at this point, because we basically just were happy with what we got. I know that there's no place you're gonna find in the PPG community that you can't find somebody that's pissed off about them. So I'm pretty sure they have people pissed off about them. And to be honest with you, I really don't care. I'm sorry guys, if you had a bad experience, I apologize that you had a bad experience. Life happens. They're doing a good job. They're doing the best they can as far as I can tell. They dealt with me, for God's sake. Okay, so this is a windsock. And you're like, Brian, it's a windsock, who cares? Well, hold that thought. We got 2 blue ones, and we got a red one, okay? Then we got these things, which we will open. Again, we'll link to all this stuff. And we don't want this to be, like, you have to do this to fly, but a lot of these things we're doing are to maximize the potential of a good outcome. Namely a helmet. If this helmet turns out to suck bad, then I will buy a more expensive helmet. I'll spend $1,300 if that's what it takes. I don't really care if it costs $1,300 as long as it keeps me alive in a situation where the cheap one wouldn't. I just have a hard time believing that the safety factor is really that much different. I think it's more a matter of just having a helmet, any helmet. And I think it's also a comfort level. I think it's a audio quality level, and it's a Bluetooth connectivity thing for me. Those were my factors, okay? So let's look at how this is built. Got some strings, we've got a swivel, and we got a clip. That's nice. A lot of times when you get windsocks, you don't get any of that stuff. It's just like really annoying. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Okay, so then this opens up, I would call that,
It's like 8, 6.
something like that.
Remember.
And then this is 15 feet long. So let's
hold one end.
Nah, I'll throw it. You ready? I heard a noise.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, okay, walk it out.
There's like a whole pile down here.
I know, it's awesome. That's why it's so cool.
Hold
so,
on. I bumped my mic.
if you
that's not even the end of it.
if you just look, this is the calibrated windsock, which means, and by the way, just because it's calibrated doesn't mean it's expensive.
She's up on the top shelf.
No, she's right there trying to go behind our tortillas. Should we show the people? All right, let's show the people. They want to know. People always ask to see the cats. This is what happens when you get a cat. Cat 1 on top of the fridge, okay? Cat 2 trying to get into the chips. Get out of the chips. What are you doing back there, you moron? Where are you? There's a cat back here. Where is it?
No, they went the other way.
They went the other way?
That way.
Hey, what are you doing back there? There is a cat back here. It's Ash.
Ash, of course.
Get out of there, you magoofus. So yeah, that's what happens when you get a dog. If you have a dog that's smart enough to do that, you have the world's smartest dog. If you have a cat that's smart enough to do that, you have a dumb cat, which we have dumb cats.
If people were paying attention in the video, Callie was sitting up there in the window a second ago behind Brian.
So anyway, the reason we show you all this stuff is because we want you to understand that all these little adders, they're not free. But at the same time, I told you guys a rough price the other day, and we're still like sub $16,000 for everything, correct? She gave me the shrug shoulders. But that's a lot of money, no matter how you slice it, but it's a lot less money than if you were flying in general aviation. You wouldn't even be done with flight training. Well, you might be done with flight training, for your private pilot license. So that is gonna get paired up with one of these. Now, hopefully there's 3 because that's what we ordered, right?
Yes, they came from 2 different warehouses. There should be 2 in one box and 1 in the other.
Oh, okay, so they were out at one warehouse?
I don't know.
Okay, so we had ordered these from one place, and then that one place didn't have them, and it wasn't Fly PPG, because they had a 16-foot offering, and I wanted a 22-foot tall offering.
Yep.
So we ended up getting a 22-foot offering. So we'll show you what this is. It's pretty obvious what we're gonna be dealing with here. Okay. So as you can see, we have a giant bag. I have no clue what's inside of here. Wait, I do.
Do you want scissors?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna.
Just gonna rip it.
Yeah, scissors probably better than knife. But the idea is I wanted you guys to see how this works because there's a lot of different choices out there. And by the way, cats do tend to like this material.
Yeah.
This material is the same material, I believe, that my parachute, or that my, see the cat standing on it, of course.
I know. Callie.
Get off of there. I don't want her to dig on it though.
She's off.
It just keeps going.
I know, it
I feel
does.
like a magician or something.
That's gonna look,
Awesome.
okay, let's go with that.
Hey, you weren't there. I thought it was so cool. It was like the coolest thing ever when I was out there seeing all those giant windsocks.
People are gonna, you know what I just thought of?
What?
It's gonna look somewhat like a circus, and people are gonna be like driving to the cemetery for a funeral, past
They're gonna
the
be like,
circus.
Hey, it's the circus is in town. Let's go to the circus when we're done with the funeral. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so anyway, good point, hon. Glad you know, we've been talking a lot about death these days. Yeah, we just keep getting closer and closer to the grave. Like, from real estate reasons.
Yeah.
Man, what did they do to packages? This is ridiculous. I don't want to cut something that's important here. That's what the surgeon said.
I don't think there's anything important, right?
Huh?
I don't think there's anything important in there.
Laugh at my hilarious joke. Hurt my feelings. About the surgeon.
Laughing on the inside. I've heard all your jokes.
Oh, you've heard all my jokes?
Been here a while.
You haven't heard that one. That was a really good one.
Not today.
Don't worry, I'll use it again 100 times.
I'm sure.
Okay, so I thought this was black.
I don't know. No, I think it's green.
Okay, so this is a flagpole thing, and it's supposed to have a swivel on top, so we're gonna see if it has a swivel on top. It comes with a bag, in case you need to put it in a bag. I'm getting nervous because I don't 22-foot windsock pole. Caution, do not use near overhead electrical wires. And seriously, that was our first thought because we're supposed to have 18 feet of clearance on our driveway. So, I mean, runway. So let's see how this works. There's a clip here.
This is as small as it collapses. It's 48 inches fully collapsed.
Okay, so, that's not threaded. It just comes off. Okay. Oh, that looks like the bottom. That looks like the bottom. Okay, so that's the bottom, guys. So what we'll do is we'll measure that because a lot of you are gonna be asking how big that is. And there's a clip here. That is really sturdy clip. Then this is the top. What the heck? Where's the swivel?
Well, right there.
Oh, there's the swivel.
Oh, okay.
Holy crap. That's all the different layers. Look at that, it's tapered.
It's 22 feet long.
Here, pull on it. Let's measure. Let's see if it's really 22 feet long. Holy crap. That is longer than the stick o' shame. Pull hard, like you mean it. Okay, let go.
Oh, don't hit my light fixtures. Hey, you could take up pole vaulting if the PPG thing doesn't work out.
Yeah, that's right.
Or dust my light fixtures.
Okay, so I think we're gonna have to put it back because it's too long.
Where are you going?
The cat is freaking out. You see the cat?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's going on. Should we try to?
Go slower. She'll get it. Callie.
Is it Callie?
Yes, of course it is.
Oh, geez. I kind of hit her in the head on accident.
She's
super excited about it though.
She is.
Okay, so that just goes out. And I am like really honestly not sure. how you're supposed to keep it out? Do you tape it?
I think it twists.
Oh, it does
Hey, wait,
twist.
you're pushing out the other end.
Oh crap, look at that, guys. You'll wanna not do that. See this? So it's just got like a friction fit on the bottom. Okay, so we're learning all sorts of new things today. So yep, you gotta give it a twist, and then another twist. Oh my goodness, I'm just afraid of the fiberglass getting all up in my skin.
Oh.
Okay, and then another twist. Oh man, those things are so long. Okay. So now let's talk about the end. There is a swivel with a bushing material here. Let's give them a close-up shot. This was what we couldn't figure out in our online research.
Yeah, there was no close-up picture of the swivel.
Okay. And this is green, but it's dark green. It's like a hunter green with
I think it'll be
metal
okay.
flake. I think it's gonna look like it's black,
Well, yeah.
which is fine. I wanted it to be black. I thought it was black. Okay, so now this is gonna clip onto here.
Is the swivel thing what you were expecting? Like, you think that's okay?
It's fine.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what I was expecting.
Oh, okay.
So then this is going to clip onto here. So you see this clip? That is a pretty heavy duty clip, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so just like that. What are you doing, Kat?
She's still trying to get your windsock.
So there you go, guys. Just imagine that, except gigantic and going all over the place. Seriously though, if you get this, you need to be seriously careful about power poles. This is fiberglass. Excuse me, I think it's carbon fiber. It's carbon fiber. If it's carbon fiber, then that means it would technically conduct electricity. Right? If it's fiberglass, then it technically wouldn't.
Strong hollow fiberglass. Telescoping for easy breakdown.
Okay. If it's fiberglass, it
Great
shouldn't.
for the beach.
It shouldn't technically conduct electricity, but I don't want to find out, in the comments below that you got electrocuted. So please don't, because you probably won't walk away from that one. So anyway, there's that, and we're going to set up 3 of these to supplement the 3 small poles that we have out now, and that's going to help us to see not only the intensity but the wind direction, and this helps a lot with lazy wind. Because you get wind and then it will relax and then it'll pick back up, and it really, really, really helps to have a long windsock. And what is it calibrated for? 3 degrees or 3 miles per hour will
Be limp. I
yeah. And I think when it's tight, it's at like 10.
I think it's 3 to 8 is like at a 45-degree angle, and then like if it's straight out, I think it says like straight out is too fast to fly or something, but it's like over 8.
So the idea is this will give us a better indicator than just our short little Hobby King windsocks. And so John sends us windsocks all the time. So Grumpy John, thank you. But these ones are huge.
Yes.
So we're gonna set those up. We're not gonna bother with unboxing the other ones. They're
all the
basically the exact same item, but we wanted you to see that's a cool little investment we made. And to be honest with you, we were about $100 and something shipped for each setup. So that's like $300.
Yeah, that's about right.
But the thing is, if you think about it like this, when you're up in the air, those things are small, but you can see them, which is really nice. And like I said, what we're doing in this pursuit is to stack the odds in my favor so that we have the best probability of success and, not dying. So, if $100 makes the difference between knowing what direction the wind is really going, then I will gladly spend it.
Yeah.
If another $1,100 is what's needed to spend on this, then I would gladly spend it. The difference between serious injury and, walking away and laughing it off, then I would gladly spend it. I think this is going to be plenty good, by the way. But for those of you that are watching, just kind of take that approach if you can. That's one bit of advice I'm going to suggest. I'm so inexperienced in this that I can't really tell you about the sport, the ins and outs of it, but I can tell you that the best approach you can take is don't cheap out. This is not the place to cheap out.
Yep.
Cheap out on that where life is not on the line, okay?
Right.
Not this, where life is on the line, okay? Because that thing is awesome, by the way. Right
It is.
there. It's very good.
Hey, not to add to your death commentary, but my phone's gonna die.
Death everywhere. Well, guys, that's all we have for you. just a real short clip like usual coming that'll show you about the cover we did, and we'll show you exactly what we did to make our felt cover. If you want to help support our channel, there are links in the video description below for things like this, for things like that. We're assuming that this video will have been long released, but if not, you get a little Easter egg in the middle of the PPG stuff. Please leave your comments and questions in the video, in the comments section below. Don't forget to give us a like. We get punished big time for doing long videos at YouTube, but we know some of you guys, our regulars, really like the long format. And so as far as we're concerned, we're gonna keep doing it as long as the punishment is suitable for the crime. And at some point, maybe, we have started using an editor, but we're really not editing, except for the other day when I was yakking a bunch. The camera crew had to go through and listen to my yaks and then mute it a little bit or whatever she was doing. So hopefully our editing will, it's not like we're gonna cut out the really good parts where, you know, there's the real knee slappers that are inappropriate. We'll leave that stuff in.
That, no.
But that.
Now I have to edit.
Yes, that's right.
Geez.
She'll have to edit that out. But anyway, we really appreciate you guys. Thanks to the patrons. Thanks for the people that send us PayPal support. We really appreciate all that stuff. If you want to support us, just buy the stuff from the links in the video description below. Easiest way for you to send a little money our way without actually paying for anything, because then the people we work with send us small commissions and you don't have to pay any extra for the equipment and items that you want. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. But at the end of the day, we want you guys to be happy, living life to its fullest. And that doesn't always mean that you're going to be doing everything you see on this channel, but we want to encourage you to get off the couch and do those things. Stay tuned. So much more to come. Sorry, I forgot to measure. So this is 1 inch and 5/8, or excuse me, 3/4. 1 3/4 there. And then the inside dimension, if you were to measure from the inside dimension, is right here at 1, let's call it, of course you're going to be difficult, 1 7/16. Of course. Why couldn't it be 1 1/2?
Right.
But 1 7/16. So if you want to mount these, our understanding is that you can use a number of different methods, and people have had great success. Wherever you're buying it, read the comments, they will tell you what to do. There is one way that we're probably going to do it, and I want to see how it works before I recommend it to you. So stay tuned. Guys, thanks for watching. YouTube, we're back. It's a little bit later than when we filmed our first part of this. This is a piece of rebar. It's about like 7 feet, 6.5 feet tall. And we just stuck it into this ground, maybe drove it in a couple of feet. We're going to see how this works. I used a, whatever this is, Master Force, like 2.5 pound hammer. And then these are the 22-foot windsocks. And basically all I did was just, we're storing them on our counter. Let's do it here so you can actually see. I'm gonna pull this little cap out. And we're just gonna slide this sucker out of the package. Now this pole has to be extended. And what we wanna do is we wanna try to make this as easy as possible so that doesn't blow away. This is the clip point. This is the bottom. Once the bottom's pulled out, the top will come out, okay? So you see what I'm talking about? You gotta be careful, okay? So then I'm gonna lay these down there. Camera crew's gonna hang on with one hand. I'm gonna just carefully walk it out. Don't pull, don't pull.
Okay.
And then they just kind of twist into position. And this is fiberglass, so I'm using gloves. Okay, you can probably let go now.
Okay.
This thing is so light. Feels like the world's longest fishing pole. It seems a lot shorter out here.
It does. It seems
Then
a
when
little
it's in the
longer
living room.
the room.
Okay, so then this is a 15-foot windsock. I'm just gonna rip it off. The winds are not insane today, but they are definitely, you know, better than what you'd want for flying RC or PPG for sure. But I just want you guys to see how this looks. Okay, now this could get away from me, so just be aware.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's so cool. Wow, there's like hardly any pressure on there. That is super comforting.
I like can't even get it all in the shot. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good amount of pressure on here, but we can tape it. That is so cool. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of yelling because the camera crew is far away. Camera crew, why don't you come so you're 90 degrees of the wind? Oh, that is so nice. Exactly what I wanted. Now you guys are probably thinking that seems dangerously close to the power lines. Yeah, it's not actually that dangerously close because it is more than probably 20 feet away, and that's a 15-foot long windsock, which is made of fiberglass and ripstop material. So this pole, I wouldn't want to like lick it if it was touching the power lines, but it shouldn't actually get into a position where it can be in the power lines. And all we did is we stuck that thing in the ground and then look at it move around. That is so cool.
I'm like shocked actually how
What?
easy that was.
How good it worked?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it's like you can really tell what direction the wind is going. Now,
Yeah.
what I need to do is I'm gonna pause and we'll show you where our normal windsock would go so you can just get a quick comparison. Okay, so now you guys can see, we're gonna show you the little windsock in a second, but you can see about how far it's reaching. So I'll stand where it is. It's reaching out to about here. So if you kind of just pivot in a circle, you can tell we're not even gonna make it to our barbed wire fence.
Yep.
Okay, so I got some electrical tape. I'll just show you what we're gonna do. Okay, just maybe a couple steps back just for safety.
Okay.
Because you hear that noise, I don't want that noise. That's hard on the fiberglass pole, okay? And then look how easy this is to take down. I mean, it's like literally
That's
minutes.
Crazy.
It'll take me more work to put that little one back
Yeah, I
up,
know.
geez. Okay, so I'm just gonna, it's just rebar. I found this on a construction site. It was like in the garbage pile. Because I'm a cheapskate. You guys already know that. Okay, so just go around a bunch of times. And again, we're not looking to necessarily meet the internal dimensions, but I did take a 1.5 inch piece of PVC, Schedule 40, which is like your standard size in your construction of your home. And that Schedule 40 pipe is a perfect fit for the outside dimension. So if you decide you want to bury it, take your auger bit on your tractor or your backhoe or whatever, dig yourself a hole, put a little bit of rock at the bottom, and then backfill your piece of PVC, and then you can just mow right over the top of it. Just put it right in the ground. You're gonna lose height doing that though. Look at it on the ground. It's even trying to fly on the ground.
Do you think you're gonna take this down, like especially in the winter and stuff, so they don't get worn? Or...
I would assume, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if they'll last the whole season or what, but
Yeah, I don't know what to expect.
they're pretty inexpensive. The poles themselves, I think, what did we give, about $100 for all of it?
No, it was
Like almost 200.
yeah,
300.
We got a pretty
Or was
good.
it like 100 for all of
I think they were like
each?
almost about 100 per pole. I think we ended up ordering them on Amazon, so we can link.
We ordered a
where we
bunch. Yeah,
found.
we'll have links to all this stuff.
But I
so.
think other places they were like over 100.
Okay, guys, so you see what I'm doing? It's not complicated. Not trying to overcomplicate life here. All we're trying to do is just make it about the right size. See how I'm kind of going at an angle once in a while? And that gets me over the edges, so it's kind of got like almost a ball shape to it. Okay. And then when you think you got it about where you want it, see how nice that worked out? And this vinyl tape, I'm gonna take this, fits, and it looks like, oh yeah, that's real close to the same size. You're gonna have to probably go around the other side because it's so long I can't move it. See? So I might go just a couple more turns. Okay, so we'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10. Then we'll just wrap that up. See, now we've got less play, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw a second one partway down.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And so if you really want to get aggressive, you could do, you know, like 3 or 4 points. And what that'll do is that'll keep it more erect and a little bit less tipped. Because remember, the idea is to inflate the windsock, not to prevent this from ripping out of the ground. And see, I'd like to, now that we know this works, I might go ahead and drive this in a little deeper. I'm just not sure I like it here. But the cool thing is, when we get the power lines buried, let's show them the power lines while we're up here. You want to go up by the power lines because they can hear me, hopefully through the mic. Maybe just kind of pay attention to the mic there, camera crew.
Yep, I can hear you.
So basically what's gonna happen is you can see the last pole on the road. Hey, don't get too far away, we're gonna lose Mike.
So the last pole.
That is
there's
called the
1,
tap pole.
2, 3, 4, all the way down there is the last one. Yep.
Sorry guys, I couldn't hear the camera crew was talking and I was talking too. Our apologies. And then they're gonna bury where? They're gonna go back up.
So they'll bury starting from that tap pole. So these 4 poles that you can see here in the shot will be gone. Then this pole that's right out where our transformer for our house is. So that transformer will be down on the ground. And then these last 2, right, Brian? 1, 2.
The last 2 will stay where they are. We'll have a transformer pad. I'm assuming it will have to be up on this side of the fence, but they say it's gonna go right where the pole is.
Oh, well.
Which is perfect, because look at all that black wire coming out of the top there. That's our 600 amp line that we ran, and you can see the little dinky wire that goes up to the 25 kV transformer. Zoom in so they can see the 25 there. See how it says 25, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So basically that's gonna go away, and then there'll be a big green box that sits on the ground. It's not really that big actually, but it's
No.
gonna be just like what we had in our backyard at the
At our old house.
at our old house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which when it's not super, I mean, it's far enough away from the house, you won't really notice it.
No, and honestly, I would love it if they would let me do a pad out there,
Yeah.
and then it would just be basically in the ditch, which would be perfect. I can even cut those barbed wire there, and then make it so I can run the mower out and mow around the dang thing.
And the fence that was here was just the farm fence that was here when we bought the property. It's not.
Yeah, we haven't done anything
special.
fancy.
No.
Farm fences, you know, are for one reason, and that is to keep people out and to keep cattle in.
Yeah.
And we don't do any cattle work here.
So the 2 that you can see right behind Brian will still be there. Those aren't on our property, but everything on our side will be underground then.
So we may drive this in a little bit further, but for now, let's you want to give them a different angle over here maybe?
Of lifting it up.
Yeah, so just so you guys can see, all I'm doing is just controlling this side, and it's really a light lift. I mean, I can't hardly believe how easy it is. Like, look at that, one hand, and it's not dead calm out here, obviously. Oh yeah, really good fit now. Definitely not rubbing anymore. Oh, that's way better. Ooh, but you see what I did though? It's too thick to go into the second hole here.
Yep.
So I kind of like that actually. That means I can drive it in a little bit further.
Do you think it's going to have enough strength still if you drive it in further?
Well, it's gonna have more strength. Because strength is coming from the ground more than it is from the rod. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how easy that is to put up and down then.
So what do you think? Should I drive it in further or should I just take a little tape off? Let's take a little tape off for now.
I was going to say, we took the hammer in when we went to get the tape.
Oh, that's
but
true.
I can run and go get it if we need it.
So we're just gonna peel off a little bit of this to get the thickness on this top one down. I think I did 10 wraps or something like that. But you can see it's not an exact science by any means. Okay, we'll just go until it stops. Okay, let's see if that's enough.
Okay.
It's just crazy though, camera crew, come do this. This is nuts, like it's easy. It's like weirdly easy. Look at that, I'm holding it with one hand, guys. I thought this was gonna be nuts hard.
That is really crazy.
See, she's wearing a full outfit.
And you're wearing shorts and flip-flops.
Hey, no, push it out further. Get it vertical
So it's
first.
up. Yeah.
Perfect. If you guys notice an appreciable difference in video quality, it's because I'm filming.
Yep.
See how cool that is?
I can feel it go through that second one, but it's not.
Nice, it made it all the way to the ground. So cool, guys.
That's crazy.
Now, it's not that
It is not
impressive.
calm, obviously.
It's not that impressive until you're driving up the road and you see like 3 of them in a row.
I know, it's gonna be cool.
And you can definitely tell it's not gonna make it to the power lines now.
No, I'm not worried
Which
about it.
I'm super happy with. We got, was it 2 that were red and 1 that was blue?
We have 3, and they're red and blue, but I don't remember what our mix was.
Yep. And my only complaint with this is that it's green. I wanted it to be black.
Yeah,
The
but
pole.
to find a 22-foot pole, like there was like 2 choices.
Yeah. So we're really happy. I mean, I can't believe
Yeah.
how light and easy it is. Like I thought that was gonna be a huge pain in the
'Cause
butt.
I was
Let's just
worried-
go watch how hard this is to put on.
I know. I was worried about what are we gonna do on days this week when it's 80-mile-an-hour wind, but we'll just come out here and take it down.
Oh yeah. Well,
that
yeah.
might be
You
a
just
big deal.
literally walk out
Like,
and just take it
set
out.
it in the ground, in the
And
grass.
why did we pick this one? Because the derecho review?
Yes, we did. One of them, so last summer in Iowa, we had what's called a derecho.
2 summers ago. The bad one was two summers ago.
Which is basically an inland hurricane that comes up without warning.
Sorry to interrupt, guys. This is a quarter-inch screw tab for holding a coax cable on the wall. And I had a D-ring because my little crappy Hobby King spinner thing broke. So I basically did this with a D-ring, an aluminum D-ring, and it has not worn even one iota. It's incredible. And so it's worked really nice. And sorry, I actually did that wrong. This is gonna go like that, and then it's allowed to swivel in both axes.
Yeah.
And then it's got play, which is really helpful on these things. And see, then I just zip tied this, which kind of looks go, but it works a lot better.
And from a distance, you can't tell.
And I extended this taller. So this is actually harder than doing that by a pretty great deal. Okay, camera crew.
So when we had a derecho, which is basically an inland hurricane that comes up without warning.
No laughing.
We were really lucky. We had some like minor limb damage, but there was some major damage in our area and then east of here. So am I gonna have to help you again?
Maybe. We'll pause and put this up and come right back.
Okay.
Okay, so I forgot I made this so it could slide, sort of.
Sort of.
It just doesn't slide like super easy. And so that just clips on there. And what I did up here was this is just a carbon fiber wing joiner from a crashed plane. And then I took a single washer, stainless washer, hot glue, stainless washer, hot glue. And that's everything. And I just basically made it so it holds on to these things. And we started getting these from Hobby King years ago. And then one of our most obnoxious regular followers, he'll like it. He'll like it. He'll get it. Anyway, Grumpy John sends us windsocks once in a while. And I think I just lost my zip tie on the bottom that keeps it from shooting through too far. But anyway, that just slides up there. And then you get your height set by this.
Yeah, that took way longer than that one.
And that's way more impressive.
Yes.
Look, even when the wind calms down, look at that. That is so cool. And you can definitely see it's not gonna reach the power lines now.
But one of the reviews on the pole, somebody from, I think, Cedar Rapids, their pole of this brand had survived the derecho. So that's why we picked it. It's also how we picked our trampoline spikes.
Yes, the things that
So if you're
coil into the ground.
looking at reviews and people say it survived a derecho, that's a good sign.
Yep, because you're gonna be like, what the heck is, what is that thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's one of those.
That's
and
cool.
we have 3 of those. And so my hope was to put them down this fence line, but then I was astonished to realize that our fence line, okay, so if you were to look at this, you would think surely you can slide that thing over a fence post.
Right, like a metal one.
No, it's a little bit too small to fit around it. Do you see the bugs? Look at this.
Oh, I do. Ugh, gross.
Spring. So what I was gonna say is, and like this one's bent. How the heck did it get bent so bad? Geez. Oh, I think we might have bent it to tighten the wires to make it look better.
Maybe.
But you could take and zip tie with 4 or 5 big zip ties, a 1.5 inch PVC pipe onto this pole, or you could screw it onto that pole, or use a pipe clamp, and then you got a removable spot to mount your stuff to. Now that being said, we obviously have these power poles, and when they come down, the power will be underground, so we'll be able to put the windicators along the fence line where we had originally intended to have them.
But we could temporary rebar like that in a little ways just for now.
Yeah,
right?
And the thing is, like, I just want to keep it away from the power lines for now.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that won't hurt anything. And I can mow around it super easy.
Yeah.
So I'm actually very, very happy with the way that turned out.
That's cool.
So, guys, if you're curious about PPG and you're thinking, geez, Brian, you've spent a lot of time on this, these are nitrile gloves. People always ask, so I was bringing up nitrile. I believe I'm saying that right. And what these, I'm going to try to get the mic noise down. I wear these when it's cold out and I still have shorts on. But that also protects my hands from fiberglass. So these are like a mechanic's glove. And it works really nice when you're flying because you keep most of your dexterity. And I also have trained myself over the course of many years of working on industrial electronics and things like that, with gloves on. And so I am used to it now, to where I work with gloves almost all the time.
Yeah.
So it's really nice because you keep your hands protected, and I am a big pansy with my hands. I like my hands to be in good shape.
Who put the fiberglass thing up without gloves on?
Well, you didn't extend the pole. I wiped off extra fiberglass on that.
Sure you did.
No, there was like fiberglass dust between every joint. That was one thing I wasn't real thrilled about. But I do notice that it's not fully inflated at the end either, which is kind of weird. It's got that weird little notch on the end.
Well, it was folded. That's where it's like creased the most.
So it's gonna take a little bit.
So I think it's gonna take a little bit to kind of work out the seam.
So I love the way that looks. It's actually high. Like, it's higher than I thought it was gonna be. That's a 22-foot pole, guys.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, it's good. It's just weird. Look at that, the updraft and everything.
I know.
So now we got to get a couple more positions picked out, and then just go ahead and, you know, like over here, we've got this little area on the other side. Maybe we could zip tie one piece of PVC over there and then have that up there, and you can really see the rotor from the trees. And when I say rotor, I mean the turbulent air that's rolling over the top of the trees. Or we could put it in another spot over there, but you can really kind of get an idea and a feel for what direction the wind likes to, you know, kind of meander. And it's going to be super cool.
And our road is not straight. There's this curve up here if you've seen Brian take off. So it's easy to kind of lose your direction a little bit. So I think those windsocks will be super helpful.
They're going to be definitely
for the
helpful.
wind direction.
Yep. Well, anyway, guys,
Cool.
So much more to come. If you want to support our channel, look no further than the links in the video description. You can buy the stuff that we bring up, or you can, if you hate them and you think I have no use for a giant 22-foot windsock pole, that's fine too. We get it. We have tons of planes down there. And then of course we have links at brianphillipsrc.com, which is basically a conglomeration of all the different stuff we've done. So it's easy and organized, and you can find projects, and then it will link you back to the videos and or a place to buy. But then we have Patreon and PayPal too. So we appreciate you being here with us. This PPG experience is a new thing for the channel, and it's a new thing for me. And obviously, as we kind of get into this spring of 2020, it's really exciting for us. It's the first full year we're gonna have this property, and we're trying to figure out how we're gonna kind of like roll all that into our lives. So we're glad to have you along for the ride. Stay tuned, so much more to come. Thanks for watching. All right, YouTube, I wanted to show you what it looks like when you do a 1.5-inch PVC, which is like this. It was white, so I just spray painted it quick with some flat double coverage paint. And then there's a little clip that's integrated into this thing. The clip prevents it from slipping through, but even if it did slip through at some point in time, I don't care. The weird thing about these is they're so light, like it's amazing, because look how big it is. But yet it weighs like nothing.
Yeah.
I can have my 12-year-old son hold it. So then you see this, I just did zip tie, zip tie, zip tie, zip tie, just, you know, whatever we had lying around, sprayed it quick, and it slides right in. And I'll show you how easy it is to put it in and out. So like if there was a bad storm coming, we could just take it out, and that's like literally as easy as it is. And it comes right out.
It's just that bottom half of the section.
You can see, look, I'm holding it with one hand, guys.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, granted, look, I'm holding that with one hand. With two, it's real easy, you know? So if it gets tangled, and all you got to do is just come in here and just give it a couple of twists and it'll slide down. But I want it to be up, so I'm going to leave it up. And then I'll just show you how easy it is to slide it. This is with the rubber boot off the bottom. Okay? So you just take and you find the opening and just slip it down in there. And just kind of guide it in. And then I'm going to just lift this clip because the paint's soft. And it's done. And then try not to get caught on the barbed wire. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Sorry the audio is bad, but we were just setting up the second one. And show them over there. There's the other one that's in our front yard. And we're going to set up probably one more. We're going to find one of these fence points. So this is the property that we purchased also. That's next to our property. So now it's, you know, it's one big piece. And then the runway is going to go on the crest of that knoll. It's going to actually go down the hill too. So we may use a bulldozer and flatten it out. I'm not sure yet. It kind of depends on how things go and whether or not we need more than that. So yeah, so that's basically the way it works. And if you have 1.5-inch schedule 40 PVC pipe, it slides right in there. And if you wanted it to be even more secure, you could tie it all the way up and down the length of your fence post or whatever you've got lying around. Whether it's this type of post or if you have to do like a, you know, one of those stainless steel bottle clamps that you tighten a screw and it bites and just kind of cinches down and around. The zip ties work perfect for this because I know that's strong enough to hold this thing. I would imagine this will probably break free at some point in a bad enough storm, and the power lines are on the other side of the road in this application.
Yep.
So my only concern is it is a little bit close to the road, so I'm not sure if we're allowed to hang over. If the wind gets to going, it'll stretch, so it'll actually end up further over. But it's 22 feet long. The ditch width is probably about 20 feet, and we have a 15-foot sock, so the only time it's really going to reach over the road is going to be in the most extreme circumstances. So, and if that becomes a problem, then we'll put it in a little further into the field here. But I want to have a few of these, and then we have wind indicators here and here and here and there and here. And then if we do a second one down there, we can actually see this from our kitchen sink, which is pretty cool. So when you're getting ready to fly, you can look out quickly and see what direction the wind's blowing. So it's really handy. Anyway, if you're wanting to buy this stuff, we'll link to the pole, we'll link to the socks. So I think we bought them as a set, maybe, like a set of 3. No, we didn't. We did buy them at 3 at a time.
Yes, we did.
So anyway, that's all. We're just gonna add this to the video, so sorry about the audio.